Good evening, YouTubers. T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight to do some more lake breakdowns. I know I'm wearing you guys out, but hey, might as well do lake breakdowns since Steve's still in the shop, right? Hey, I had some people ask me about smaller lakes, so I like to always throw a small lake in when I'm doing these larger lakes. You guys know I'm right in the middle of breaking down Sam Rayburn, which is going to take me 4 or 5, maybe even 6 videos. So I figured for those of you that aren't really interested in Rayburn, or maybe you're like me and you can't really drive that far to go fish Rayburn, let's talk about something that's a little bit closer to DFW. And so what I did was I took one of the suggestions from the subscribers. It was a little lake called Mill Creek Reservoir. It looks like it's just south of Canton. That's what we're going to dive in tonight. Stick around. I got some good stuff for you. All right, like usual, we're going to go out and we're going to look at the fishing page for Texas Parks and Wildlife first to see what this little lake is all about. Something where I've never been. Definitely looks like something I'd like to go to. So a little bit of information on Mill Creek Reservoir. Surface area is only 237 acres, so it seems like a pretty small lake. Maximum depth at 25 feet. It was impounded in 1976. Looks like the fluctuation is pretty moderate, 2 to 4 feet. So we're probably not going to find a ton on Google Earth, but we'll uncover what we can. And if you look down a little bit more, it talks about some aquatic vegetation that's in there. Predominant species in this lake is going to be largemouth bass and crappie. Sorry about that. And if you look down here, it says that the largemouth bass fishing is actually the most popular sport fish, and it shows as being good. Fishing cover and structures, it looks like they actually have some fish attractors, which I'm going to show you guys here in a minute, a downloadable file, which was super cool. And this is one of the few lakes that I was able to go and find an actual contour map for. So I was able to bring the contour map in as well. So with all that information, let's jump over and let's look at this thing in Google Earth. Look at how awesome this thing looks when you add in the contour lines. I mean, we have pretty much everything that we need now right here in the palm of our hands to be able to find anything that we want inside of here. If we want to look at laydowns, we can find laydowns. If we want to look at different fish attractors and things like that, we can do that too. And we have all the contour spots here too. So let's go ahead and just jump into this thing and let's take a look at it. I'm going to take these contours off for just a second so we can see some other stuff real quick. And the first thing I want to point out to you is over here on the left-hand side. If you look and see where my little check mark is, I didn't mean to do that. You'll see here where I've got pretty much everything kind of organized here. So those contours are right here, so we could turn the contours off if we want. We also need to, there's a creek channel in there, so let's go ahead and click that one, keep that on. And then we've also got hotspots. So these are all your hotspots, your laydowns, your boat ramp that's over there as well. So we'll talk about those laydowns in a second. And then you've got your fish attractors as well. So if I take off the hotspots, we can look at just the fish attractors. They're in here as well. So these 3 main fish attractors, Texas Park and Wildlife split there. And then we also have these offshore spots that we're going to talk about once we put in all these contour lines. So then it's going to be a complete map for us. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start off just talking about the fish attractors real quick, since they're the first ones right here on our list. So you've got your 3 main fish attractors there. They're all marked. They look like they're just outside of the boat ramp there. And let's go ahead and go down here and let's look and see if we can find the best date to be able to kind of find stuff here. So I'm going to go in here and highlight all my hotspots. And I think this is going to be the best image we're going to get. I couldn't get a really good image here. And because this lake doesn't fluctuate that much, there wasn't much we could do. But let's move this back just a little bit and see if we can get anything at all. I think 12 is the best image I can find. I'll move one more and then we're going to go back to 12. So I think 12 is going to be the best we can find. So let's go ahead and go back to 12 and let's start there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start us up here by the dam. There's nothing up there. So I'll start here. We'll work our way back around. And then when we get out of the hot spots, I'll show you some other things. So just real quick, if you're going down the bank line, just a couple things to look at here. You've got some laydowns that are just barely in the water. Now, when I pulled the water up, these do look like they're submerged. Not very much submerged, but submerged enough to where I think they'd be good to fish around. So lots of good laydowns there. You got multiple ones down this bank line all the way down. You can just see you kind of pick them off. So you can just throw on a Texas rig and go flipping. And I'm sure you could have a really good time going down that bank line. You've also got some more laydowns right around in here, and then an additional laydown right in that area as well. So as I move over here, we get further out towards the main lake. Off of this point, we've got a couple more laydowns to look at. We've got one right right here. We've got an additional one right here in this little pocket, and then one down here as well. So you can see there's not a lot going on in the bank line, not too much that I could find, but being able to put the fish attractors plus being able to see the laydowns and the ramps and putting all that together on this very small piece of water, I think it's just really awesome. And I think you guys are really going to be able to take advantage of all the spots that we're able to mark here. So just going to keep running down and show you guys these laydowns. We've got one here. We've got a couple more in this area, one down off of that point as well, and you've got another one right in there. So as we back up, I didn't find too much going down in that pocket, but as we came back over here, we've got some more laydowns in this area. You can see on both of these pockets, I've got some smaller laydowns. As we dive in here, you can see them. There's one there, and there's a couple back in these pockets that you can see. So not too much, not huge laydowns or anything like that, nothing earth-shattering. You could probably even see these possibly from the bank line, but good areas for the fish to really be attracted to. So you got another laydown in there, some more junk back in here, some pretty good laydowns in here, again, right in this area as well. And I love flipping around those laydowns. You know there's going to be bass around there 90% of the time. These are all good areas to fish around. So check out all these laydowns. They're going to be good for you. A couple more there. Then as we get closer back up here by the boat ramp, we've got 3 or 4 right here on this bank line. Let me go ahead and zoom in and show them to you. You can see they're just really large trees that have fallen into the water. Got another one up there as well. And then we get back up here. I think there's one more to show you back in this pocket before we get back up to the boat ramps. Yeah, there's one decent one there. And then not too much going on, pretty small boat ramp. I believe this is even an area where you have to pay, where you have to get some kind of permit to be on this lake. So make sure you check out all your regulations and things before you just hop out and go fish this lake. I think you have to get something through the city of Canton. You've also got a couple laydowns here as well. So check those out. And that's really all the hot spots other than the ramp that I was able to find from Google Earth. So you can see, couldn't find too much there, right? Well, that's okay because we've got the fish attractors, we've got the hot spots, and now we've also got this creek channel that was down here too. So if you scroll down here, there's a pretty good creek channel going on down here that I was able to locate. It goes right through all of this. Now, I don't know how shallow this is. This looks fairly shallow, but you can at least go down there and at least fish around it and see if anything's attracted to it if it's not too shallow. All right, so that gives us, it's the only creek channel that we found. Now let's switch over and let's talk about some offshore stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and fill all these contour lines in. We're going to get everything up here on the map that we've talked about tonight. And then we're just going to start going through everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start back up here. I'm going to take off my hot spots and leave the fish attractors on in the creek channel. This gives us all of our offshore spots. And now let's just kind of go back here and let's look and see what we found from an offshore standpoint. So starting up here at the boat ramp, you know, obviously you don't see too much going on here. You've got some pretty good depth around in here. It looks like you may have somewhat of a hump here that comes up 4 or 5 feet. So you could try fishing right in this area. I didn't mark anything there, but you can definitely try that. From an offshore spot, the best spot that I could see on this side was right here. It looks like you may have a point with a little bit of a drop off or a ledge that you could fish around. So that looks pretty good. Contours in here all look pretty wide. You know, it doesn't look like too much going on. You've got a little bit of a depth going on this bank line here. I think that's where we found those laydowns too. So you could check that. You've also got an underwater point that's over here. This could produce. It's got a pretty good drop here into 15 feet. So that can be decent. Also over here, you've got a pretty shallow point coming up that comes pretty far off as well. It's got some pretty good depth on the sides of it. Then as you move down, you look at this point, you've got some pretty good depth off of that point, nothing too crazy. You do have a hump out here though, hump out in about 9 feet. Looks like it comes up 2 or 3 feet from the bottom. So you got a pretty decent hump right there. And then you've got an underwater point that comes out here that's really shallow, 3 feet down, that drops down to about 8 feet. So check out this edge of this point too. And then 2 more spots for you guys, really. Again, the small lake, right, only 276 acres, so we're not going to find too much. We've got a little bit of a ledge going on right here at the edge of this point, and the same thing on this side. You can see where it gets kind of gray and dark in there. That means you've got a pretty decent ledge going on right on that area. So that really covers us for Mill Creek. Guys, if you want this thing, go out to simplisticfishing.com, get your SD card or get your digital file. You'll have all of this stuff. You'll have the contour maps. You'll have the offshore stuff. You'll have the Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractors. everything that we've talked about tonight, as well as those creek channels. So it really gives you everything in a really small package at a definitely affordable price. It's going to make fishing a lot simpler for you. Make sure you go out and check it out. Until next time, I hope you catch your PB, guys. Take care.